All right, so you made it through the training. You've made it through the full Learning PHP course. Well, maybe you've skipped around a little bit. Maybe you discovered just things you needed to get things started and work effectively because you know a little bit about PHP. Maybe you just found some things interesting and you wanted to start later than sooner. Well, I hope you enjoyed everything about this course, and I really strongly believe that based on what you have learned in the foundation of the beginning sections and then the middle sections, a lot with the functions that are built in, arrays, strings, working with databases, and especially all the website work with forms and databases and things like that. You can just go through the samples again and really see that it is quite a lot of information here for you to be able to process. And I try to give you all real-world examples. At the same time, I also try to give you details that are really going to help you out. I don't want to give you something that might be an outdated type of way to teach somebody something, and it also might be something that's effective to teach something, but at the same time, it has no value. So I want to give you something that's really going to put your skills on the map, so to speak, with PHP. There's a lot more you can do. There's object-oriented programming that you can do, and everybody's jumping into the object-oriented world. It's really becoming a standard way of doing things. It becomes difficult to explain it or to understand it, especially, and that's something that you want to start to approach with PHP. But really, after you get the foundation, you can see that there's lots of things you can do without even using the object-oriented type programming skill. But if you do get that object-oriented skill under your belt, then you're going to be good at JavaScript, at Java, C#, the ASP.NET world, C++, all different types and all different languages, and it's really going to excel things. Also, a lot of the open source solutions are object-oriented, so it helps to understand that a little bit. But I think having a great foundation is only going to make all of that really much easier. And the most important thing about working with PHP is the fact that you can do a lot of string processing with ease. You can do a lot with regular expressions and escaping functions and parsing, formatting your output. All of that's vital, and I think we covered that in so much detail. I think it's really going to be rewarding for you. As a matter of fact, I think even arrays, sometimes arrays seem to take the backseat because it's an older technology or an older way of doing things, but the array functions really are so deep in PHP. You really have to go onto the php.net website or download the documentation and look at all the functions that you can work with arrays. You can create some fantastic things with arrays, and you can pass them in functions, do what you need to do. You can return things in arrays just to get them ready so you can loop through something. And you'll notice that when you start to work really good with PHP and you start to get into the point where you know you want to start writing less and less code, you start to really become a programmer. And I suppose that's why you can call it a programming language. It is really for scripting, but at the same time, when you start to get into it and you say, well, I want to write that in 3 lines. I want to write that in 2 lines. I don't want to write it in 10 lines. And the challenge to do that starts to be rewarding for you, and you get it done and you're happy about it. Well, that's what you're doing. You're learning PHP, you're mastering PHP, and you're getting really good at it. Now, the advice I can give you is just to, if you haven't gone through the whole course, I suggest that you do that, just so you can get that foundation. And I just suggest also that you try to write things in simple ways and try to write less and less code. Comment your code. Definitely comment your code so you can see what it does a year later if you need it. And that's one last thing I can recommend. When you're creating your code, use it in such a way, create it in such a way that you can reuse it. You really want to create modular code. That's the thing. And within the modular code, you can reuse all of that. I recommend you look into reusing things. Try to make it a habit, a good habit, to just store things in libraries. That way you can use it again and again. Because when you do something, and then you go to another language and then come back to PHP, it's never fun to have to relearn a few things. And don't be fooled to think that you won't relearn something. If you spend the next 5 years doing PHP only, good for you. I think that's going to be really rewarding for you as well. But if you're like most people, you have to wear many hats and you have to learn other things, you might put PHP down for a long time, and then you know what? Well, you're going to forget some things. But luckily you bought that CD, or you're looking online and you have the account that you can go online again and refresh your knowledge. So that's important too. All right. So anyway, I'm Brian Max. I'm very happy to have done the Learning PHP title for you. Look forward to teaching you some more PHP and other titles as well. So just stay tuned for that, and really look forward to learning this language and getting out there and doing some other things outside of the computer world. Let this video training really do what it's supposed to do, and that's give you more time for everything else. So take care, and I'll see you next time.